guys, this is Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and I have day 29 of 31 days of cut file fun from MK at Some Assemblage Required, so make sure you check out her channel. So this is the cut file for today, and I have pictures of us hiking, and all these bits and bobs, they're like watercolor cactus. They came from the paper collage that's in Phoenix. It's a little scrapbook store, and she makes her own things. And then the papers are from Stash, and so I liked this cactus paper, and it came from a paper pad, probably from Michael's, like a Recollections one. And I'm just laying out my photos here. I mess around with this layout a lot. There's a lot of like trying to organize those cactus and everything, so it's a little bit choppy, but I show you how I just mess with the placements of them. And so I wanted the Polaroid part separated from the succulents that were on it, and so I cut those off, and then I'm going to back the photos in that pink paper. And then you can see I'm just kind of messing around with where the photo placement will go, and this is how I have it in the end. And then I will start working on coloring the cut file. I'm messing with the placement there, but so here's where I'm going to start coloring the cut file. And so I took the bits, and I have Glimmer Mist in Forest Deep and Rose, and then I used Distress Spray in Cracked Pistachio. So here I'm starting with a Cracked Pistachio, and I just used a paintbrush and painted the cut file pieces. And I wanted them to kind of match the colors of that were in the cactus, and because the cactus kind of looked like watercolor, I didn't want to spray these. I wanted to paint them. And so the cactus is the one that's in the Forest Deep, and then the rest of the rose color and the Polaroid picture are in that Glimmer Mist Rose. And so here I am back at the layout, and I'm going to start my fidgeting with all of the elements. And I had started out putting a cluster in the bottom left, which you'll see, but in the end I'm going to move it to the right so that I kind of had this diagonal from left to right with my clusters. And I think that turned out a lot better, and there's going to be one long cluster that goes between the vertical photos and the horizontal one. And so here I'm building that cluster that I will eventually move to the right side of the photo, which you will see in a minute. I do close-ups of me working with the clusters because I put pop dots and stuff on them. And so I inked the edge of the Polaroid in the Victorian Velvet, and here's where I'm going to start kind of putting together this cluster. And so I did a close-up for you here, and these little cactus are adorable, and I left the white trim around them because it wasn't very big, and it didn't bother me on this one. And so the sentiment in the middle says, "Let's wander where the Wi-Fi is weak," and I popped that up on some foam tape. And I wanted to get these cactuses and succulents around the Polaroid part of the cut file, and so some will be popped up on foam dots, some will be flat on the cut file, and then when I put it back on the layout, there'll be even some that are behind the cut file. So my idea is just to add kind of a lot of dimension to these clusters here. And so I'm liking how that's looking, and I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with my other cut file bits. I will cut them and separate them a little bit, but this one on the right kind of stays over there. It will move to the side of the photo though. And this says Wanderlust. I have a lot of sentiments on this layout, a lot of kind of travel-y, hikey type sentiments. So I moved it over to the right side, and I like how this kind of flows in with the cut file, and I thought I'd put the other bit of cut file up there, but in the end it stays here on the side of the photo, and I like how that looks. And then with the cluster moved to the right side, I think it balances the layout a lot better to kind of do this diagonal of all of the elements here. And so here's where I cut the cut file, the bit of cut file apart, and I put that cracked pistachio painted one closer to the Polaroid part because it was a different color and it separated those two succulents. And so here's where I'm going to work on the cluster that goes on the bottom right. And I did a close-up for you again here, and I really liked it. Said let's get lost, and I'm just again piling in the ephemera, doing some on pop dots, some are flat, and then I liked these little rocks that came that I could kind of peek out the side of them. So I really liked that cluster, and then that one's going to actually go up on foam so that there's some dimension in the bottom as well. And so this one says C, and there'll be like a little compass that I put around. That compass moves around the layout a lot, but it will end up in that bottom cluster on the right. And so I'm liking how this is looking. I think it's becoming more balanced, and now I'm just fidgeting. And that's all I did for the rest of the video, is just fidget with where I want to put all of these elements, and I put a lot on there. I used some other bits from my stash, this arrow here, and then there's fresh air is under that C. And so yeah, that's the layout for today. Thanks to everyone who's liked and subscribed to my channels. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons. Make sure you check out all the information in the description box about 31 days of cut file fun. Thanks everyone. Bye.